J-Lo. Affleck runs back to the ex. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Jennifer Garner was married to Ben Affleck from 2005 to 2018, and they share 3 children together. Violet, who is aged 18, Finn, 15, and Samuel, 12. Jennifer Garner may not have realized that she was married to a narcissist, but she certainly conveyed, in an excellent quote, what a relationship with a narcissist is like when she said of Affleck, "When his sun shines on you, you feel it. But when the sun is shining elsewhere, it's cold. He can cast quite a shadow." She may not have realized that she was talking about a narcissist, but she certainly summed up the dynamic and the contrast very neatly. When the seduction is taking place and when you're being embedded, as the intimate partner primary source, you experience the golden period, and the sun shines on you, brilliant, hot. Then, of course, devaluation follows, as it always does, and the sun shines elsewhere, and you're left in the shadows, in the darkness, feeling the coldness of the narcissist. Their relationship ended, and as such, Jennifer Garner was painted black by Affleck. Notwithstanding all of the help that she gave him in order to deal with his alcohol issues, all of that falls to the wayside because of his absence of emotional empathy. Naturally, they still have a connection. It's unclear the extent to which Jennifer Garner minimizes her involvement with Ben Affleck as a consequence of what he is, vis-a-vis, of course, the sharing of their children. It naturally has become easier as they move towards majority, but it's evident that she still has some form of involvement. She may not have to deal with him on any handover in relation to the children. She may not need to necessarily speak to him with regard to the needs of the children. They can convey them themselves, given the ages they are. And it may well be the case that she has now moved into a position where she actually has very little to do with him because of the ages of the children. This, of course, benefits her as part of a no-contact or near no-contact regime. From Affleck's perspective, of course, matters have gone south in relation to his marriage with J-Lo. Hardly a surprise, as I explained in immediate parts passing, in relation to the fact that when 2 narcissists collide, you may get narcissistic cementation, or, as is the case between Ben Affleck and J-Lo, it's tumultuous and leads to disengagement. However, when disengagement occurs, there is one person that is in immediate danger. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're in danger physically, but they're in danger of being hoovered. This is because when the current intimate partner primary source enters devaluation, and particularly where they're disengaged from, the preceding ex becomes painted white, and thus this increases the likelihood of being hoovered. When you are the ex and you're painted black, unless you're unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of a malice campaign, and they are rather unusual and rare, for the most part, the narcissist doesn't want anything to do with you. That's because you've been deemed to be treacherous, unfaithful, unreliable, which led to your disengagement. So the narcissist has got rid of you and you're painted black. Invariably, the narcissist requiring an intimate partner primary source has focused on somebody other than you. And their narcissism causes them to focus on that individual and not you. You're of no use to the narcissist. The new person is basked in that golden period once again. They are painted white. That's the person that the narcissist is focusing on. Of course, the ex will be hoovered in circumstances where they keep coming up on the radar And of course, people who have not accessed my work make those elementary errors of kicking the hornet's nest by repeatedly coming on the narcissist's radar, be it through approaching the narcissist directly. Why have you treated me this way? Where's that money you owe me? When are you going to see the kids? Why are you with her? Why are you with him? Or indirectly as a consequence of going around and talking about the narcissist to other people, which gets back to the narcissist, and because that's a threat to control, the narcissist must do something about it. Thus, those individuals find themselves at an increased risk of hoover because they're getting in the face, in effect, of the narcissist. But if they implemented a total no-contact regime and kept their distance, the likelihood of them being hoovered is much reduced because the narcissist simply doesn't have any use for them as a consequence of being painted black. And they're far less likely to come up on the radar as a consequence of the no-contact regime. However, that risk increases when the current intimate partner primary source enters devaluation, and particularly when they're disengaged from, because this causes the immediate X to be painted white. And in the case of Jennifer Garner, she, as the ex of Ben Affleck, becomes painted white as a consequence of the fact that J-Lo is painted black. This puts her at an increased risk of being hoovered. It doesn't necessarily mean that Ben Affleck will try and resurrect a relationship with Jennifer Garner, although it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Many narcissists go running back to the immediate ex, claiming that they made a mistake, that I was conned, that this person distracted me. They blame the new ex for having duped them, for having lured them away from the previous ex. And naturally, it is not the narcissist's fault. And in some instances, that previous ex falls for it. Having not reduced their emotional thinking, they believe the lies that they're told by the narcissist who has come running back to them, explaining how I took leave of my senses. I don't know what happened. It was a whirlwind affair. She or he lured me in. I didn't realize what was happening. And foolishly, they end up taking the narcissist back. It may be the case, of course, that Affleck would just be hoovering Jennifer Garner in order to assert control over her and to draw fuel from her without necessarily looking to resurrect the formal relationship with her once again. She remains the former intimate partner primary source, and he controls her and draws fuel from her. But it is typical of the narcissist to go running back in some shape or form to that previous ex as a consequence of them now having been painted white, because the freshly made ex is painted black. And there has been that involvement between Affleck and Garner, as Ben Affleck was spotted, according to the Daily Mail, still ditching his wedding ring as he departed from his $100,000 a month rental in Brentwood before meeting ex-wife Jennifer Garner and their daughter Violet. The Gone Girl actor, 51, who was first spotted without his wedding ring earlier on Friday, joined the Alias actress, 52, and Violet, 18, to watch son Samuel's basketball game in Santa Monica on Saturday. Now, the occasion of the basketball game provides Affleck with an opportunity to hoover. His narcissism can utilize the fact of, well, it's our son, let's go and watch a game together. We haven't been given this information, but it might be that he ordinarily doesn't bother. But because of the change in circumstances vis-a-vis his relationship with J-Lo, his narcissism now deems that it would be appropriate to go along and watch the basketball game and use that as a pretext for hoovering his ex-wife Jennifer Garner. It might be the case that they regularly go and watch their son together and do so in a relatively amicable fashion, and therefore he's regularly hoovering her. Nevertheless, recent events with J-Lo and the supposed split that has taken place will increase not only the risk of this perhaps being a fresh hoover, but if it's not, and it's part of a series of hoovers that ordinarily occur, provide him with a greater incentive to treat Garner in a pleasant fashion for the purposes of controlling her and quite possibly seeking a sympathetic reaction from her. The split speculation comes amid reports that the pair of them have been living separately, J-Lo and Affleck, since Affleck moved out of their $60 million LA home several weeks ago. Affleck later reunited with Garner and their eldest child Violet to cheer on son Samuel, 12, at his basketball match which took place at the YMCA. The 13-going-on-30 star, whose divorce from Affleck was finalised in 2018, was seen dressing down in a short-sleeved grey shirt that was partially tucked into a pair of blue jeans. Then talks about what she's wearing in typical Daily Mail fashion. We don't need to know all about that. One day earlier, on Friday evening, Affleck was seen for the first time without his wedding ring on, amid split rumours with wife Jennifer Lopez, whom he tied the knot with in 2022. A source recently told Us Weekly, in an article published on Saturday, that Affleck moved out of both his and Lopez's LA home several weeks ago. Affleck is currently living at the Brentwood abode amidst filming his latest project titled The Accountant 2. Accordingly, the suspicions of a split seem to be reinforced by this evidence of him not wearing his wedding ring and confirmation that they have not been together for quite some time, a number of weeks, and also raises the possibility of him unloading to Jennifer Garner, hoovering her, perhaps for the first time, using the son as a pretext, but demonstrates how she will now be viewed in a much more favourable light as a consequence of J-Lo being painted black. It might be that Jennifer Garner is wise to what Affleck is and adopts an arm's-length approach to her interactions with him, understanding it's better just to have limited contact with him. It might be that she doesn't even necessarily sit with Affleck whilst they watch their son, or if she does, she does so thinking that it's important to be amiable, and in so doing, of course, is providing Affleck with fuel. He is likely to hoover Garner more extensively by virtue of her now being painted white. Doesn't necessarily mean that he will look to resurrect that relationship, but is commonly the case that a narcissist will return to a past ex and look to do so as a consequence of the failure of the current relationship. This can be seen by certain narcissists that ping-pong between two intimate partner primary sources, or the possibility of returning to somebody who is the anchor. If you want to understand more about that, watch my video about the 4 classes of narcissist. But here we have Ben Affleck, a narcissist who appears to have split from J-Lo, another narcissist. It's unclear who has disengaged from the other. And this has then led to the hoovering of his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, who has now been painted white. Understanding the dynamic between the narcissist and others enables you to understand the actions of that individual. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.